Guys, a couple of things first before I start talking about the case of Christopher Watts. I'm uploading the Patreon edition to the video House Shopping. It's really long. I tried a couple of times yesterday to upload it and it kept, I don't know what the word was, but it didn't work a couple of times. And so I just thought of whatever, and I figured I'd take care of it today. And it's working right now just fine so far. So it should be on Patreon within, I don't know, hopefully a couple of hours, because the longer videos take a long time to upload. So I want to let you know that. And then I also want to bring your attention to a channel called Thought-Provoking Videos. They just uploaded a video about an hour ago. Remember that video that we did yesterday or the day before, I think? And I titled it, "Oh, you want a laptop?" About the vision board and poor little Bella sitting there hungry while her mother told her to hold the phone. Well, Thought-Provoking Videos did a video breaking that down and then giving their opinions about what was going on. And it was really disturbing to watch, quite frankly. I was already disturbed by that video, but after watching what Thought-Provoking Videos did with it by explaining things and pointing things out, it was even more disturbing than it was before. And I noticed something when I watched that I had never noticed before. There were 3 times at least, I counted 3, but I wasn't really looking. You know, I noticed it the first time, I thought, that's weird. And then I noticed it again and I thought, whoa. And then the third time I thought, okay, that is weird. 3 times that I noticed, Christopher Watts' wife said to Bella, oh shoot, now I can't remember if it was hold on or okay or something, but she called her mommy 3 times in a row, or not in a row, but 3 times within a short, few minutes. She called Bella mommy. And the first time, it wasn't that clear because it almost sounded like she was going to say mommy has to do something or mommy's busy or something, but she didn't. So you just kind of think like it was a drop-off sentence. But then the second time I was like, no, that wasn't a drop-off sentence. And the third time it was obvious. So I just think that's odd. I had never noticed that before. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link to that video and, take a look at it. See what you think and see if you notice that too. And let's see, there was one other thing. What was the third thing? There were 3 things I wanted to say. Oh, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just want to say the attackers are saying evidently that if you're not a forensic psychologist, then you're not qualified to speak. And I find that very curious because I know there are a lot of people talking about the case of O.J. Simpson, who never went to college. There were a lot of people talking about the case of Casey Anthony, who didn't even graduate from high school, right? And the same with the case of Jodi Arias. There were a lot of people who didn't have any psychology degrees going on, and they're still discussing that case. So why is it, for the case of Christopher Watts, that you have to be a forensic psychologist in order to evidently get permission to discuss the case? I'm being snippy, obviously. I just wanted to point that out. So what I want to talk about in this video is the fact that Christopher Watts had a very healthy and loving home. He had a very stable childhood. He lived in the same house all of his life, all of his childhood. He had the same friends all through school, close friends, lifelong friends, friends who remained friends with him as an adult too, long after high school. He was in sports. He always did well. He and his sister both always did well in school. And both went on after high school to follow their dreams. And they completed what they started. They set their goals and they reached their goals. His parents didn't fight. His sister and his mother weren't fighting. There wasn't a bunch of fighting going on in the house at all. Both of his parents worked. They had careers of their own. His Nana lived right across the street. So when he got home from school, if his mom was still at work, his Nana was right there. He had a whole lot of love going on. He belonged. And you know, when the family would take vacations, they didn't have to go anywhere fancy or spend a ton of money. They'd load up the kids and they'd go visit relatives. And he got to enjoy the love and the attention from extended family members. And everything was solid and safe. There wasn't any abuse going on. There wasn't anger and drama at all. His parents were close and loving. They didn't have any separations or threats of divorce. He and his sister enjoyed a childhood really what we would hope for all of our children, that they would grow up knowing that both their mom and their dad would be there and would be protective of them and would take care of them and provide for them. He brought his friends home all the time. The house was full. He was happy. He was safe. And he learned to trust people from an early age, of course. He knew he could trust people because he was surrounded by people he could trust. So he grew up trusting people. And evidently, he wasn't taught that there are people in the world who will take advantage of you if you let them. I think this is an important part of this case, is to discuss the fact that Christopher Watts came from an extremely solid, healthy, loving home. His parents raised him well, and they raised his sister well. And both children became hardworking, focused, honest, kind, successful adults. Take a look at that picture. Who do you think that looks like? Or who do you think looks like that picture? When I saw it, I thought, oh my goodness. Little Miss Bella sure did look just like her daddy. I know there are all sorts of photos, flooding the internet about how she looked just like her mama. I think she looked like her daddy too.